it's all centered around the term quality of life. And that's the hope for the future, that she maintains or improves quality of life.
I was ready for her to get healthy so we could get to work because I wanted to know what we could, do to build on that.
Molly she's one of those people that when you go through life, you just feel a connection with certain people, and that's kind of how I feel about Molly. I haven't seen her I retired from the HEP Center in 2003, and I know I haven't seen her since then. And I didn't know where she was other than I knew she left Marshall and was living in the community somewhere in a home in the community. And I just sort of accidentally stumbled onto her on Facebook one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's Molly on Facebook.
So that was always a goal with moving her to the community, was to get her off the Haldol. And the first ISL in the community of Marshall, they were going to work with us on that, and that doctor in the community was going to work with us on that, but she kept getting sick. So when we finally moved her to Columbia, to Tina, it was an easy transition because she'd actually been, every time she was in the hospital, we don't think she got the Haldol.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
So it was really titrating her down off that was pretty easy, although you did have some behavior issues.
The first 3 days, and I remember talking to Tish, and I said, she's trying to bite me. Because she's never done that. And Tish was, what do you think we should do? And I said, let's just wait it out. Let's wait until it's out of her system and see how she does.
And I so valued that about Tina that I mean, you called me, I was in Springfield, Missouri, and I happened to be with Mike Mayer, who is a behavior analyst, consultant, and along with the behavior analyst from the Division of Developmental Disabilities. They were there together with me. And I just freaked out, thinking, oh my gosh, Tina, she almost bit Tina. Tina's not going to want her anymore. Oh my gosh. I just freaked out. And they were like, no. And I told them your reaction, and they were like, perfect reaction. She's just coming down off of it. She'll be fine. And they calmed me down. Wow. And she didn't need it. And because she gets the attention she does in the community, she doesn't have behavior issues. A lot of good common sense early detection, prevention has kept her healthy. She's only had, one hospitalization in the last year?
Correct.
And that was because of the Dilantin.
Yes.
So we couldn't be happier with how she's doing.
Oh, Molly's favorite, I think, will be eating out. And we takes her to a lot of different places. We trying out new restaurants and stuff. When we first originally started, we knew that she was crazy about Dairy Queen. That we knew. So we always would take her right to Dairy Queen, and then we started to venture out little by little, and and started McDonald's, Wendy's. I think we went to Hy-Vee, anywhere, where the setting was nice and she can be around a whole lot of people at the same time and enjoy her lunch.
Yeah. She likes outing, like in the park, outside.
And finger
her favorite
food.
things is going also to the park and especially the flowers.
Yeah.
She likes that. She will.
The shelter garden.
Yeah, she will pick the flowers. I don't think so we're allowed to pick up flowers.
The shelter garden.
And she'll look at me like this. Okay. We're gonna pick up flowers. She likes that. So and then we sit there, enjoy and listen to the birds and thinking she can enjoy and relax. So we know that Molly is not only
there,
here,
she's
but
enjoying it.
Her personality has done nothing but emerge more and more. She's eating well, very healthy eating, and drinking well. She gets out in the community a lot. And so at the end of the first video, Tina said that she was ready for Molly to get healthy so she could get to work, and she has been. And Molly has swimming, is it twice a month, I think?
And tomorrow's Tuesday. Yes.
And out in the community a lot. I've never seen her so happy and healthy. The doctors in Columbia have been awesome.
They've been excellent.
But from that, then we have to look at what is the overall quality of life. And I think that's where a lot of people, a lot of families and a lot of guardians have never dared to think in that direction. And it's not uncommon for us to see dramatic changes, not only in the health status of somebody, but in their overall happiness and their overall engagement and how much they're laughing and playing and those kinds of things. And you see that in Molly. You see this incredible personality that is allowed to be now. And she's ornery, and she's got a stinky, funny, silly kind of sense of humor, and she's got her pace that she likes to do things at, and if you try and rush her, she's like the cantankerous grandma who doesn't want to do it any faster than what she's doing it. And isn't that wonderful that we're able to see and know that person of Molly?
And she also has a sense of humor that is, well, I guess some people might say kind of a dry sense of humor. When something funny would happen in the group home where she lived there in Marshall, and sometimes I'd be laughing out loud, and I'd look at Molly, and Molly might not be laughing out loud, but she'd have this little sly grin on her face. And I'd think, okay, she thinks this is funny too. It's not just me that's laughing. Molly thinks funny too.
She loves getting out at a park. She loves the outdoors, the wind. That's why I'm thinking she loves sitting outside. She loves the breeze, the sunshine, the potting of the plant. If we had more time, she would probably love to do that. She loves to get her hands and stuff.
Really?
So, and going out to eat, love it, loves the mall.
Doesn't mind the action and the activity, huh?
No, in fact, they've taken her to the mall in Columbia before, and she loves to watch the merry-go-round, one of those big carousels.
Wow.
And when they think it's time to go, she will actually put her feet down, and she won't let them move her wheelchair. Because she's not ready yet. She's not ready yet. If she's not ready to get out of bed, she won't move. And okay, Mom. Okay.
She is a Thomas. I remember sitting on the pictures I have of my sister Molly and my older brother and I were right out there on that front stoop. That's where the last picture that I remember was taken, right out there. And I remember the three of us growing up together. I remember she was very strong. I remember always wanting. I remember always wanting more from her, because I had an older brother who was a little bit mean to me. But I wanted a sister. I wanted my sister to be my sister. And I was always a little sad about that, but I think that we tried. I think that she was my sister. She just was. Until all of a sudden she wasn't. And then she was gone. So.
Having Molly up here, to get her up, it's actually in her plan to make visits here. We don't have a frequency down yet because we just don't know how to handle it. I think, well, maybe we have at least 3 times a year. I'm not quite sure, but that's going to be adjusted as she gets more used to it, as we learn what we'll be able to do with her up here. I don't know. Can she really ride in an ATV? I don't know. We don't know. How would she be in a pickup truck? How is she on bumpy farm roads? We don't know. We know she can come in this house. We know she can do that. But the purpose of this visit is to see how much we can do with her. And after a 2.5 to 3 hour drive, it's going to be interesting. So it's a learning process for all of us, actually.
She probably can't take a 42-person gathering of family yet.
That's why I didn't do it this time.
But it's hard for the rest of us.
Yes, it is.
10 years ago, there was still the presumption that the vast majority of people who had significant disabilities like Molly were always going to have to be in a state institution. You heard that. It's like, well, that's good for some, but there's always going to be those people who are going to need 24-hour, 7-day-a-week care that only a state hospital or a state facility, developmental center, whatever they call it there, can provide. And now we've got, unsurpassed evidence that is saying that's not true. People who have very significant disabilities can be very, very happy, very successful in the community. And as we look at our future as a nation, we're having to come to grips with some realities that when you talk about it costs me $200,000 on average to keep somebody in a state-operated facility, or I can take half that amount or less than that and serve that person in the community, that means I can serve 2 or 3 for the price of 1. So from a public policy standpoint, it only makes sense for us to continue to look to what is best practice, what does the evidence say is success.
My attitude is like we treat them as my member of my family, that I want to be like, hey, this is the one, like a part of my family that give all the loves, the support and care. And that's for me, And the other stuff, we always told that to them, this is not only our job, according to everybody's like treat and enjoy things. This is like, if you want your, like Molly or the other what we have here to respect you well, you have to treat them and respect them too. So that's what we want, and that's why as I don't have any problem with Molly's at the beginning, because I don't think that Molly is only a part of my job. No, I don't treat it like that. So I don't know this, and that's what I saw in Tina's, the way that she give it to her own clients, their consumers. No, she never put any boundaries. So I learned from that one.
Yeah, I also learn a lot from Tina too, and she's always in that mode where she wants you, look, let them do it. They can do it. They can do it. So that motivates us to say, okay, if they're more independent, then they're more happy because they're doing this stuff for themselves, and we put a lot of that off into our work too. We watch her, when she's with them and stuff, and then we, peel off some of that, for ourselves. So when we taking care of them, well, shoot, Tina said they can do this.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can do it, And with Molly and stuff, she gave me a routine when I first met Molly, and I followed that routine to the letter. I have never had any problem with Molly. Everything I asked Molly to do, she always cooperated with me, and she still does, and she's just a great person to work for.
One of the other things you hear a lot of times is that, well, the staff aren't trained, they're not going to know what to do. The reality is that the staff are trained differently because they have to do different things. But they are just as qualified as anybody else to take care of them. So that's a concern.
I know that at first Molly is a very had a good characters. Like I learned that first is Molly don't want to be rushed. If you don't want to get smacked or squeezed, don't rush her. you know, and she's a very sweet woman. I mean, like, everybody says, like, how can you be able to communicate with her? She don't talk. Well, I said, you can observe her and watch her, and you learn as you're doing that.
Molly is, when she makes her choices and stuff, you know, she's very prompt on what she wants, and that's exactly what she wants. And there's no changing her mind about it, so don't even try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She will stick in that.
And we always, you know, talk to Molly and tell Molly what we're going to do before we even do it. Because that way Molly will cooperate better, you know, when we talk to her and tell her, you know, Molly, we want you to stand up for us. And Molly will give her time, and when she's ready, she'll stand up for you. And that's the way be easy for me to transfer back and forth, you know, and with Anna Lynn assistance with the chair, you know, be able to take Molly out into community, you know, in the community all the time.
One of the other major concerns is that there's very high turnover among staff in community settings. And quite honestly, in a lot of places, that is a problem. The wages for the folks who are working in the community are not as good as they are in the larger state-operated facilities, things along those lines. And I tell families is that what you want to do is look for an organization or provider that doesn't have that problem, that doesn't have the turnover problem, that has stable staff, that say positive things about their employer. Those are the kinds of folks you want to try and gravitate towards.
Like, transporting in a van, or first when we're about to leave, she knows that she's going out in the community. She's enjoyed it. She was so excited. You know, she can't wait. Now, when we were in the mall, and like we're in Barnes and Nobles for the toys and things, she will grab that. She don't want to leave. And she is not going to leave in the mall because she still wants to be in the mall. She's still enjoying herself. But they're like, wait a minute, Molly, we gotta go. And she was looking at you like, and then she will hold on to that toys, and we can't go anywhere.
Can't go nowhere.
We can't go anywhere.
She still got the toys.
She still has the toys, you know. And you have to, okay, Molly, we're going to tell her, let's go to the JCPenney and look at some more clothes. But Molly, we trick you. I'm sorry. We turn around. We go back. She knows it. She's so smart. And we transfer her to, or we put her in the van or in the car. She was not gonna stand up. She was still
said, "Come on, Molly.
Like,
You ready to stand up? It's time to go." Molly just sit there. Like,
And all the way from the mall to the house, she was like, because she was complaining. I'm not ready yet. You know, I'm still having fun. So that's why we know it, like, oh, we're gonna do this more often.
She's got amazing individuals who not only take care of her,
They love
her.
They love her.
They love her.
You can tell.
And they
There's something
see
with her.
they see Molly's personality. They value that. And
Well, they love her,
yes,
which I love.
yeah.
The one thing I want to do with Molly is I want her to know my voice. So I want to read to her. I have one of Mom's first grade readers, and I just, when she's probably resting, I have a really nice mushy pillow thing for her, which I know she'll really like it. And I just want to read to her. Really for me more than her, but as I think sometimes when she looks at me, I know she supposedly doesn't know us, but I think that she really looks at me when I'm around, and I think it's because I remind her of our mom, because I think my hair now is kind of like my mom, got the silver and the pullback. But I like that. I think it's interesting that she looks at me like I know you. And I don't know. I always wonder what's going on in her mind, and I don't know what she can see, and I don't know what she hears, and I don't know what she processes. So I think that my reading to her is really, for me, number one. But maybe in the long run, she'll enjoy my voice. So that's my goal.
Draw up water for the cow. After his cow had had enough to drink, he started to take her to a grassy field. Suddenly, he remembered that the baby was sleeping in the house. "Oh, this is terrible," said the poor farmer. "Baby should not be left alone. But what shall I do with the cow?"
All I know is ever since I've seen her, my life has been completely different. I'm happy. I used to always, if I thought about Molly, I cried. I didn't even have to think about it. If anyone brought her up at all, I cried because I've always had this basic sadness about her. I just always missed her. And now that I've seen her, and now that she's back in my life, I don't have that sadness at all. I'm just happy. It's great. This is great.
My name is Will Jackson. Molly is my aunt, and I've known her for most of my life. I went to go visit her at the Marshall Center for actually a few times. So I was introduced to Molly a while ago. I've known her from Marshall as well as here, and yeah, I live and work here in Columbia. I work at Boone Hospital.
We revamped the whole process to where it's it has to be person-centered, closely monitored, family involvement, friends, and I include direct care staff. They know it better than I do. But I had my son Will sit in on it because as her future potential co-guardian, you need to learn this process and my wishes for her, which are the family's wishes. And and he was fascinated by it actually, and actually had a couple of suggestions or questions. Like, yeah, Will, good. But all of our sons have been raised by strong women, so he just kind of sat there, but when he was like, yes, Will, do you have any questions? Wow, yeah. What about this? That's a great idea.
But he's taking it seriously then.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he takes it very seriously.
Plus, he's known her his whole life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And actually, you're probably one of the few of us who's really been part of her life your whole life.
Well, I feel that I still have a lot to learn. I do need to spend more time with her, and I'm sure I will spend more time with her as time goes on. It's very exciting. I feel honored that I have the possibility to be her guardian in the future and share that responsibility with my cousin. So I look forward to it. I want to help in whatever capacity that I can.
Just the family dynamics. It just all settled down. Did you notice everybody gets along? Everybody's accepting. It's all fine. We've all just kind of and moved on.
Yeah.
Isn't Isn't that nice?
Yes, it is.
And then I just like the fact that we had our meal around her. She was part of it. We all talked. I think the more she's here, the more it becomes routine for her to be here.
I agree.
So that every time she's here, we start with something like that, and then it's a new thing, like you did today.
But see, it's just like when you come to visit, you don't live here, but you come to visit, and we just try and build a meal around you and make you feel comfortable.
An excuse to eat.
But Molly will come here, and Mom specifically wanted this headstone here so that as other people wanted to be buried here, that they could add their names to the headstone. But I'm sure we'll end up with additional headstones up here because quite a few of us will. I want to be on the farm. I'll always be on the farm. So, but we're all adamant that when the time comes, that Molly come back here, because we feel she's had to live away from the farm most of her life, and she's been trapped. And once she's set free, we want her to be back here on the farm with her spirit running with the rest of us. So that's our plan. Sorry.
Yes, give that to me. Give that to me. You silly. I know. You haven't had a chance to say a thing, have you? There you go. And she likes it that way. She likes it that way. Yes. Like I said, she's the nicest one of all of us. Yes.